Moose.
Yeah,
because I just want to say Moose. Glad that's not my nickname. I mean, really. You know, Mark, when you're talking about the Yankees and baseball, you know, you're talking about one man who's become synonymous with TV broadcasts. Our own Scott Stanford caught up with him. The TV voice behind the Yankees. We're talking about Michael Kay. Take a look.
Hi, Mike. So you know what? You grew up in the Bronx. You went to Fordham. You were into sports writing, correct? Did you always want to be a broadcaster?
Since I was 9 years old and I knew I wasn't good enough to play for the Yankees, I wanted to be the Yankee announcer. I mean, who knows if it's going to happen, but that was my goal. But when I graduated from Fordham, I had a really thick Bronx accent, like Vinnie Barbarino, so I wasn't about to go into broadcasting. Yeah, so I just became a writer, and I ended up covering the Yankees 2 years for the Post and then 3 years for the News, and then the radio job opened up next to Sterling, and like 5,000 people applied, and they asked me if I wanted to be considered, and I don't know how, but I ended up getting it. That was 24 years ago.
Yeah, I remember, you know, WABC. Back when we were both working there, they gave you like a call-in talk show at night. Did you ever think that that would blossom into what you're doing right now?
The whole thing, Scott, is like, I know it sounds corny, but it's a dream. Sometimes I sit up in the booth, I can't believe that I'm doing it, and I can't believe I'm doing it 24 years. I mean, there's a whole generation of kids that unfortunately all they know is me, but it's kind of neat because you know, when I started with John, they hadn't made the playoffs for a while, and that was in '92, and they started to get better, but we had such an unbelievable run where, you know, you make the playoffs almost every single year, and that's a pretty good gig.
You know, you say, you know, you grew up, you always wanted to be the voice of the Yankees. Not only did you become the voice of the Yankees, but you have a job where you were covering a team that was making it and winning the World Series every year. Some guys never make it to the World Series. Broadcasters don't make it a single time. You talk about living a dream. This is the ultimate dream team you were calling.
It really is. I mean, it's almost like, you know, Mel Allen obviously he is the voice of the Yankees. We're all just renting this, you know, until we leave and give it to somebody else. But he had such a great run of teams, and I think that when you bring good news to fans, I think you're more accepted and you're more liked, and you're almost part of the furniture. They look at you as part of the championship as well. So, you know, I've been here and there've been 5 championships and all those playoff appearances. You really couldn't ask for more.
Is there one player that you look back on, even to this day? Is there one guy that you had the best relationship, better than anybody, like you became really tight friends with?
Well, I mean, when I started writing, there was a young guy from Jersey that was a pitcher, and that was Al Leiter. And, you know, we ended up becoming best friends, and we're still friends, and he was at my wedding and all that. But there are a lot of guys that I've had good relationships with, and, you know, Paul O'Neill from the field to the booth. You know, we've become very good friends. I had a good relationship with Derek. I had a good relationship with Andy and Posada, guys like Clemens, and even some of the guys that people might perceive as bad guys. You know, for the longest time, I had a great relationship with Alex Rodriguez as well. I think that when you're broadcasting good news, the players get along with you, too. The last 2 years, when they didn't make the playoffs, some of the guys don't love us as much because you've got to point out some of the things that aren't going right.
Yeah, all right, so let me ask you a question. The Mount Rushmore of the Yankees. I know people probably ask you this all the time. I'm going to give you 6 instead of 4.
Thank you.
Who goes up on the Mount Rushmore?
6 is fair. I think it's got to be Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mantle, Yogi. I might need 7 because then it comes down between Jeter and Mo.
And Mo.
Mo's the greatest of all time at what he did. Jeter's a Hall of Famer. So I guess you've got to take the greatest of all time over a Hall of Famer. So I guess you've got to go with Mo, with Gehrig kind of peeking his head around.
So 20 years plus, is this still candy store stuff?